Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. You guys know who I am. I'm Dr. Angela Butts-Chester, and you know what I like to do on my show. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on a fire. And that's what we want to do today. We want to get you fired up about my guest. So you know what I'm going to tell you to do. Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea because we are about to get started. Hello, hello. Welcome to the show, Serah. I am so glad that you are here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angela. I am thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I
Yes,
can't, I
ma'am.
appreciate, I can't even appreciate enough.
Oh, thank you for that. Before we get started talking about your book, I might be introducing you to some new viewers out there. With that being said, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? What makes you you?
Thank you so much, Dr. Angela. Again, my name is Serah Muiruri. I am originally from Kenya. I have been in the United States for over 30 years, and I am a clinician. I work as a clinician in Massachusetts, in the state of Massachusetts. I work with diverse populations. I work with people with acquired brain injury. I work with people with cognitive challenges, a wide array of challenges, including mental health. So mental health is a passion for me. Besides that, I'm an auntie, I am a sister, I am a sibling, I am a friend. So yes, that's who I am in a nutshell.
Oh, I love that. And someone who is, I will say, with a very broad stroke, a fellow mental wellness advocate. I love that. I love that. So, when it comes to being an author, is that something that you've always wanted to do? Or did you find that this was one way that you were able to share your information, share your knowledge with the masses?
Uh, Absolutely. That's a great question. Ever since I was in high school, I always loved books. I love to write. I love to read. So books and Sarah have always been synonymous. So in terms of becoming an author, I always had it in my back burner. I never really thought that it will come to fruition. But I knew at some point it may very well happen, and it has been in the last 5 years that that has happened. That's what you always say: put a seed, plant a seed. You never know, and when what you put in motion carries in motion, and when you plant a seed, it always comes to fruition. So yes, I always wanted to become an author. I didn't know how to go about it, to be honest with you, but once I figured the how to, the rest was history, and God has put a lot of people in my life that have been a blessing, that have been able to open that door. And when the time is right, things turn out to be great too. So yeah, that's what about my other journey. What has become.
Oh, I could not agree with you more. So you are so right. You never know how God is going to work that into your life plan, but when
Mhm.
it is time, it definitely is time and it turns out to be beautifully done. Now, the
Absolutely.
title of your book, Breaking Chains, A Guide to Overcoming Interpersonal Violence and Reclaiming Your Strength. Love the title. I've seen the book, and the cover is something that is very eye-catchy. Well done. If it was in my local bookstore and I'm just, kind of looking along the shelves, I would definitely stop and pick this book up. Now, with the title, did you find that the title came to you first and you were able to write around it? Did the title develop in the story? A lot of authors just have a working title. They just save it as book three. And then by the time they're done, they come up with the title. What's the story there?
It didn't start out as the title itself, but I knew the content would be about interpersonal violence. So that was a passion. That is a passion of mine and has become in the last 10 years, having had a lived experience myself. So as I thought about all what I had been through and what I hear as a life coach too, because I also am a life coach, from what I hear from other people, I hear about pain. I hear about being unable to get beyond a certain point. So I thought about it, and right in the middle of my manuscript, that's where I figured, and I thought, okay, wow, bingo, this is what it's about. People, there are chains that are holding us back. There are the pains that are holding us back. Whether that pain is something, is an experience, and it doesn't have to be actually interpersonal violence. It could be something else that's also holding you back. How do you break that cycle for you to be able to get to the to realize the dreams that God has laid down for us? So that's where, right in the middle of it, that's where I really honed on this title.
Oh, I love that. And I'm glad that you are asking the bigger question, right? How can you break this cycle? What can you do that's going to break the change? And not going it too deep into the mental health part of it, but so many people are dealing with learned behaviors. They're dealing with the things that their parents they have taken on, that negativity made it their own, and they have to be the generational breaker. And I love that you are giving people permission in your book to be that person that breaks the chain. It is so powerful, and I love what you're doing. Now, with that being said, would you say that your book is one that is appropriate for someone in high school, as young as 14, 15, 16 years old? Or would you say perhaps college age, that 25-year old or a little bit older? Do you need more life experience to understand?
Absolutely. That is in itself is a loaded question. However, I tailored this book to a certain population, but when it comes to interpersonal violence, it can come to anybody. We are talking about bullying in schools. So the curriculum itself and the material itself can be tailored to the audience, depending on how people are. It also depends on how people are able to break it down and bring it down to the level of a high school student. Violence can catch us anytime. And when I'm also a doctoral student. I am my focal study is intergenerational trauma. So that's the other part of it that also helped me hone into this process, because once I realized it's not what I experienced, is what it's not what I went through, it's what I was. I mean, it's what I experienced, and that's just about it. Sometimes we beat ourselves down because of what we have gone through. However, if we can be able to forgive ourselves, and we are already able to forgive others, but how can you help help yourself by forgiving yourself for being in a certain situation and not being able to navigate through? So anyway, back to your question, this can be tailored to anybody that has had any a negative experience in their in relationships. So it can be an adult that also went through childhood trauma through lived experiences in their as they were growing up. And that actually, I was in class yesterday and we talked about that particular piece. When the household is dark and sad, that may carry through your life unless someone is able to break that cycle. So exactly, it can be for anybody that has had a negative experience during in relationships.
Oh, I love, love, love that you said that. And one powerful nugget that you just gave us there is to give yourself permission to forgive yourself, to be able to move from there to where you want to be. Now, when it comes to the proper way to read your book, a lot of books are the authors write them in a way where chapters can be read independently of each other, but sometimes it is simply just a way of marking where you are in the book. You should read page first before page last. Now, does that matter with your book? Is it reader's choice where they can pick it up and start anywhere, or should they start with page first?
I did. I was very deliberate in how I crafted the outline of my book. Of course, there was at a certain point I wanted to be a chronological order, but once I also realized that okay, people may not be in the same spot they like everybody else. So I want to take a book and look through the title and look through the outline and read what speaks to me. Because, for instance, I could be going through a domestic violence situation, even though domestic violence is just a portion of interpersonal violence. So, if I wanted to look at just a piece that talked to me, spoke to me about my particular situation, if I don't have kids, then I may not be intrigued by the chapter that talks about resources if you're going through domestic violence with children. So that may not pertain to me because I'm not going through the court system and child custody and all that. However, because this book is for everybody, that's why I needed to put that chapter in there because I did my own research. It's not something I experienced myself, but I had other friends that have gone through it because they have the kids and where they are in that particular process. So that's why in the middle of it, I realized, okay, maybe this chapter may not speak to somebody, but this chapter may. So that's why I wrote the outline the way I finally did it, because you can pick it up and read wherever you want to read, whatever chapter, or even in the middle of the chapter, or even towards the end of the chapter, it doesn't matter, whatever speaks to you. This is a very, very unique and specific and individual journey. And I wanted the book to be just as such.
I love it. So, whatever is for you is for you. And start there. I love that. I love that. Well, it is time for us to take a very short break. Now, before we do, I want to remind everyone that, of course, this book is available on Amazon or wherever books are sold. But if folks wanted to reach out to you personally, can you remind us what is your website? I want to make sure that people are able to get to you.
Absolutely. My website is very, 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 it's not any different. It's not really challenging. It's my name. It's www.serahmuiruri.com. So www.serahmuiruri.com. That's it. You will find me.
I love it. Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book and how to stay in contact. We'll be back right after this. We are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. Was there a particular nudge for this book, a knowing that right now is the time that I need to do this? Not in a month or so, but that I really need to get pen to paper right now.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Dr. Angela, for asking. Yes. During COVID, believe it or not, that's when I started to write and write a lot. This is my fourth book, actually. I just released another one after this one 2 months ago. So, what happened was 10 years ago, I knew I was going through a very traumatic experience. So I knew somehow this has to come because I'm a firm believer of everything doesn't just happen, it happens for a reason. And that's where forgiveness is a virtue. And forgiveness is a powerful, powerful tool that we can give ourselves. And I knew that if this thing that happened to me, it didn't just happen. There is a purpose and a reason. You just mentioned a few minutes ago, we all have our destiny. We all have our passions. We all have our reasons why we are here. We are not just here for no reason. So once I realized that during COVID, that, okay, how can I turn this dark moment for the world to a positive? Because when I as during my life coaching, because my life coaching actually did not stop, actually it amplified during COVID. And the more I felt I had about pain, I had about domestic violence, because people are now just having to live together for a period of time that they were not used to. So at that particular moment is when I decided, yes, we need to give people tools that really are going to be important for them to be able to get through this dark moment, because we didn't know how long we were going to be in that situation. So what happened also is that I also enrolled in a doctoral program, and my first class that really talked about trauma is when I was able to piece the two pieces together. And like I said, God kind of helps you and gives you the power to use the tools that he has given you. I was able during COVID to do so much that I was not able to do years back. I enrolled in a coaching program, a 2-year coaching program that was specific to trauma. And the more I listened to that, the more I knew that, yes, I have to put these tools together. And that's how that came to be. But then the how and the time factor, because in mental health, as a clinician, our time is very, very limited. And of course, we have to pay attention to everything. We also have to take care of ourselves. We also have to take care of our families. So time is very, very limited. But I knew I made it intentional that I'll wake up at a certain hour in the morning and dedicate that hour to writing my books. And then I can go about my ways. And then also, I didn't want a book that was like 300-400 pages, because when it becomes enormous, you lose people, because we all don't have that attention span. We can only be in a certain situation for so long. And I wanted something that they would make it simple, very simplified, nothing really that goes into big words. I wanted people to just make it simple, make it a plain level field for everybody. And that's when I knew that I was in the right space. And then just early this year, and then of course there's a financial component too. You have to save a little bit of money. Writing books as a self published author, it also takes a little bit of time and takes a little bit of money as well. So it was a financial piece to it too. But eventually, by God's grace, I was able to get to this point, and that's how I knew now. Let's do this. So yeah, this year I made it intentional, and sometimes I also teach people about goals. You have to be very intentional, and I just leave it. What I don't teach what I can't do myself. I know there's technology these days. You can have your calendar on Google. You can have your calendar on a cell phone. I'm a pen and paper person. I still carry my calendar. I write down things. So that's how I was able to map it out. January 1st, 2025, I am going to have one book out, at least one book at a certain point. And believe it or not, by June of 2025, I had 3 books all published. So again, we go back to where we started. We are not here by chance. We are here, and we have to be intentional about what we do to be able to achieve our goals.
Oh, I love that answer. Now,
Yes.
I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. You said a term there that I realized that I did not give enough attention to: interpersonal violence. And I know that there are going to be some people who are going to say, Dr. Angela, but I don't know what that term is. You ladies are having a great conversation, but I'm still a little lost. So, with that being said, can you explain what is that? How do you address it in the book? Does it go by any other names? Who's the cousin to interpersonal? You know what I'm saying. Help everyone understand what that term means.
Absolutely, yes. When we talk about interpersonal violence, and that's what I picked up over time from talking to people, I think a lot of people equate interpersonal violence to domestic violence. And what I tell people, or at least what I have discovered, is that interpersonal violence is a bigger term. And then under that umbrella, there is so many components of other situations that constitute interpersonal violence. Domestic violence is one piece of interpersonal violence. For instance, people may not even know that in our day to day lives, let's start from our own families. We may have that sibling that really, for some reason, they don't like us, we can get along, even though I'm blessed with a great family that we get along. However, there are so many families that I meet that cannot, and it's okay, because you cannot force people to like you or to love you, and it may be just personalities are different, and that's okay. However, when you know that that situation is tethering to something that's actually causing you pain, then at that point it's interpersonal. And then more so to relates to. It can happen even between a mom and a child. And because for whatever reason, that mom may have different expectations for this child. And if they don't live up to that expectations, then they're put down. Anytime that person, somebody is talking to you in a derogatory manner, in a negative manner, that is not okay. And that's tethering towards interpersonal violence. And then again, other people may think, okay, interpersonal violence is just when someone hits you, they speed at you or whatever it is. But even the settle talk, sometimes just even body language is enough to tell you, okay, step away. So if they're looking at you in a certain manner, if they're using language that doesn't really appeal to you, if they're also emotionally draining you and beleaguering you. We call it a lot of it gaslighting you to bring out the worst part of you because they know how to get you. They know how to trigger you. They know how to get to your emotions. So that therefore, that can be also a signal that, well, that's interpersonal violence. If it's at work and this particular boss or this particular co-worker is always putting you down, is always spreading rumors about you that may not be true, that's incivility during workplace that can also constitute does actually constitute interpersonal violence. If it's a husband or in a domestic situation, it could be a significant other that is also putting you down because of your finances. It could be also financial violence, can also be financial as well. If they're exploiting you, if they're not able they're not treating you in a manner that dignifies you. It's in a manner that almost dehumanizes you. That constitutes interpersonal violence. So there is a lot that constitutes that, but mainly it's emotional, psychological, physical, financial. All that comprises interpersonal violence.
Now, one last question for you, and that is guilt and shame. Now, I know this is a loaded question, and let me give the disclaimer here since I didn't say it earlier. If you want to know how the story ends, you gotta buy the book. Now, with that being said, because you talk about so much, and thank you for doing that, guilt and shame is a burden that so many people, female and male alike, carry around, and sometimes they don't know how to offload that. Some don't even understand what's going on, but they just have this negative feeling or this burdened emotion that they're experiencing. How do you express that or talk about that in the book?
What I would say in terms of the shame and guilt, first and foremost, you have to extend some grace to yourself. I began by saying that forgiveness, you have to forgive. Forgiveness is a powerful tool. And you have to, in order to forgive others, you have to forgive yourself first. Forgive yourself for beating yourself down, because if you are someone that has had that lived experience in terms of interpersonal violence, it means that you have experienced some shame, you have to experience some guilt. And guilt and shame, of course, are the tools that the enemy uses against us. And that's the tool that the perpetrator may also be triggered to use. And more 100% of the time, that's a tool that they want to embed in you. And when they are pushing guilt, they're pushing blame, then they know that they have caught you. That's exactly where they want you to be. Because now it's not about what they're doing to you. It becomes about look at her, look at them. And then there's also a cultural component to this, because some cultures, obviously there's the dominance of the male dominance, there is the female gender as well, and how that crosses over, it's specific, so specific to the cultural affairs. So what I tell people is that, again, the trauma you went through, the trauma encompassing shame and blame, you have to move away from that. You have to be intentional. Of course, you have to obviously get to people. Like we said, we cannot push people to get to do what they don't want to do. But once they are determined to get out of that situation and what they want to grow out of that and start the healing journey, because healing is a process. That is the number one reason that they need to really get down to, okay, I have to forgive myself. Whatever happened, happened. Yesterday is yesterday. Today is today. And I am still here. I still have a reason to be alive. I have a reason to be also grateful because I made it. And I know yesterday, not everybody made it to today. So that's a starting point. You have to remember that you cannot feed the enemy what they want. You have to go the other way. And by going the other way, that's where you have to walk away from the shame, walk away from guilt. But we are also human. There will be times that you will still revisit that because our minds, sometimes we are our own worst enemies. We want to go back to where we were. And even like the Israelites, they blame Moses for actually getting them out of Pharaoh's hands. So anyway, what we need to do is forget those that happened. Forget those things that happened. Let's move on. Today's a clean slate. Let's forgive ourselves, let's build ourselves. And that's why we cannot forget ourselves as well. We also have to build ourselves. By building ourselves, we have to develop that resiliency to be able to get to where we need to be. Because if I say that I am completely healed, I'm done, it's a lie. I'll be lying to you because I'm human. We still have to revisit this. That's why we have to be very, very intentional about how we handle this whole process and breaking chains for real and once for all. Because if we keep going back, it means the chains are still not gone. We still have those shackles and we don't want them. We want to forget them. So shame, blame, tools of the enemy, we need to do away with them.
Amen to that. And what a wonderful way to end the show. Do away with that. Break the chains. I tell you, I have so enjoyed my conversation with you today. Thank you so much for coming on and not only sharing a little piece of your story, but also for writing the book and sharing it with our viewers today. Now, we understand that the book, of course, is available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. But if someone wants to reach out to you, Serah, how do we do that?
That's fine. They can reach me through my website. Also, you can call me. I have my number. My number is 508-579-5335. Again, 508-579-5335. They can reach me through that number. I also do have an email address, several actually, but I'll give you just what I use for this work. It's Serah, my first name, at Limitless Success and wellness.com. Again, Serah at limitless success and wellness.com. That's my email address.
I love it. Thank you again for being a guest on the show today.
Thank you so very much for having me. I couldn't be happier. It was a great conversation, and I look forward to maybe another time that we can have a conversation. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And viewers, thank you for spending some time with us here today as well. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to spend it with us, and I thank you for doing so. As always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.